Square in Georgetown and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
What is on your mind, Cayman? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us, and I trust and pray you had a wonderful, safe, and enjoyable weekend as we invite you to be a part of all that unfolds here on Radio Cayman. In particular, on the Talk Today show, as we welcome our good friends from UCCI. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is reminding you.
Avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Email Talk Today at candw.ky. Let your voice be heard. And now, back to Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. This education is not only empowering, it's equalizing, but it's also a thing that encourages us to know what we don't know. Well, I sit here each day and learn, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to facilitate. So, thanks so much. And if you join us on YouTube, well, we're so glad that we have that opportunity to leverage, our technology. You see fine, individuals joining us as we talk about education at UCCI. Well, I won't say buenas tardes, so I'll just say welcome. How are you?
Thank you, Dwayne. It's a pleasure to be here.
Is it really?
Yes.
Here as in Radio Cayman, or here as in now and present?
Anything you say.
All right. I'm going to find it. She has two mics, Miss Susan. We'll give her this one. All right. You see, when you're so important, you got two mics to choose from. Well, with that, I'd ask prior to coming on there, you introduce yourself, and then, to me at least, the new dean. Would you be so kind?
Sure. Okay, so I'm Felicia Robinson, and I am the Program Director for Social Work at UCCI. And it's my pleasure to introduce to you and the Cayman community Dr. Ginny Phillip Durham, who is the Dean of Humanities and Social Sciences at UCCI.
Miss Felicia always, whether she was at DCFS or any of her roles, brings that enthusiasm, that sense of just being endearing and accommodating. I see you found a good colleague and almost a counterpart. So welcome,
Well,
Dean.
I hope I don't disappoint.
I'm sure you will.
Thank you so much.
How are you today?
I'm well, thanks.
Yeah.
And yourself?
I am, and some days you just feel like you just need to find a little extra encouraging word, an extra sort of, thing to give you that oomph you need for the day.
Yeah.
Well, I think I found it.
goes.
There is Susan.
Well,
welcome. So, Miss Felicia, when we think of a university campus, and in particular social sciences, as we get into our discussion, what are our parents in particular, as we speak to our students? We're going through the summer, and there's going to be a lot that transpires. And for students, new school, for some of them, start of a new school, start of school to begin with, transition from grades, and others are going to be going into, tertiary learning. And yet we ignore social sciences, from the economics, to even, other avenues like social work and where it's not socially acceptable sometimes to talk about some of the things that impact us daily. You do it differently. So share with us, Ms. Felicia.
Okay, well, the Dean is going to give the overall viewpoint about social sciences and what we offer. and how we challenge our learners and prepare them for not just work but for life. I am happy to focus on social work and really how we prepare persons to enter the caring professions and the helping profession. And bearing in mind that social workers are really one of the largest group of mental health providers globally. So I'm going to let the Dean start with the overview of social services.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you as well. Well, this morning we were having a conversation, and our provost prefaced the conversation by saying how pleased he was about the open house that we have coming up, because there's nothing more important than the social sciences. So I share the same sentiment, and we're really here today to speak not just about social sciences, because I am the Dean of Humanities and the Social Sciences. The focus is the social sciences open house because we do want to break some of the barriers and some of the myths and clarify some of the, misconceptions about career options for students that are interested in the social sciences. So we do offer programs in social work, of course. We do offer social sciences with concentrations in applied psychology, applied sociology, as well as HRM and public service management. So those are the options. And when you look at the labor market, you survey some of the job opportunities and some of the things that are available, not just thinking of the younger demographic and the students who are just coming out of the secondary school system, but also for mature learners. We certainly do want to welcome them. UCCI is very much a community space, and we do want to welcome everyone and challenge them in terms of their critical thinking, their ability to contribute to their policy space, the social dynamics, the economic dynamics, as well as history, culture, and the arts at UCCI. So those are some of the things that we do want to share when we welcome persons on the 16th of May, and I will pass on to Felicia to speak specifically about social work.
16th of May between 6 and 8 p.m.
In the Cascade Room.
Thursday, I think, right?
That's a
Thursday in our Cascade Room.
All right.
All right.
So an educational happy hour.
What better way? Leave empowered and enthused. But that's what education is. So on the 16th of May, well, Sarah, that's Miss Felicia, because I have much to ask.
So social work will be represented in that open house. We are a program that provides professional training right here on the island. So when our students graduate, they are ready. They're ready for business. They're ready to go in and impact at the level of the families, the individual, at the levels of the community. We have some exciting news also to share. This year, we've launched a social work scholarship. It is open. The applications were open. On the 24th of April, we close at the end of this month, May. So if you are interested, if you're contemplating doing social work, you thought about doing it, but it was always an issue of, can you afford to do it? Do you have the resources? I would rather do it here on island than going overseas. Then UCCI is the place for you. Go online, have a look, see what the criteria is, and apply for the scholarship, but also apply for admission to the program. Okay. The scholarship is in honor of the Joyce Hilton, the Honorable Joyce Hilton, and we launched it in March the 10th.
April the 10th.
Originally, we had planned for March. It's okay, Dwayne. This is the day after a holiday.
No, I share with you during the break. But I know what you mean. It's a day after a holiday. I'm not just any holiday. So it's good. Well, why don't we take a quick break?
Sure.
And when we come back, we continue. And this is where I think, increasingly, I look at our tertiary institutions, in particular UCCI. There's that campus right across the street. And there is the secondary schools where they can look, they can see, they can be encouraged, they can inspire, and who knows, All right, when we come back, we'll show you how to get involved and appreciate the importance of, the social sciences. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
This Mother's Day, Digicel wants to take you to brunch. We're giving away brunch vouchers for you and mom to enjoy a delightful feast together. Winning is easy. Simply activate the postpaid Supreme plan or the 30-day Prime Max plan, and you could be our lucky winner. Don't let the chance to treat mom to a special day out slip away. Visit your nearest Digicel store today or hop onto the My Digicel app for your shot at winning. Make this Mother's Day a memorable one with Digicel.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square, and I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At Valley Med Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit Valley Med Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with Valley Med Pharmacy.
The Economics and Statistics Office is currently conducting the annual business surveys until June 14th. The surveys seek to collect information needed to answer these questions. How did the economy perform in 2023? In 2023, how much did foreign companies invest in the Cayman Islands? The surveys include all relevant entities that produce goods and services in the Cayman Islands. The surveys are confidential under the Statistics Act and are exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. Your response matters. Do your part. Fill out and return your survey forms to the ESO. Remember, better data, better decisions, better business. For assistance in filling out the forms or for more information, visit www.eso.ky or call 244-4676 or 244-4600.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back, and thanks for sharing with us. I think something akin to book clubs, in a sense, where as a group of friends or even new acquaintances meet and they talk about, maybe it's a contemporary novel, maybe it's one of those books that everybody would say should be on the list of the 100 books we should all read, Archie comics and this kind of thing. I say that to ask, and when we talk about academia and when we look at college campuses and the like, first maybe to Miss Felicia, as director, let me ask of you.
No, the dean is senior.
I am, but dean is our guest. We're amongst our friends. So I was going to say, perhaps first to Miss Felicia, if I may ask.
Please do.
As the dean referenced being the dean of humanities and social sciences. Mm-hmm. So before the honorable dean responds, we look at semantics and then we label much. But for those listening, the differentiation between humanities from your perspective, and then Nadine will bring in the academic, and social sciences.
So the mere fact that you use the word science there, social sciences, it tells you that you're not just looking at society from the artistic and the cultural perspective, that you are using particular theories, to explain what is happening in society, to explain the events, to explain the history, to explain the development of society. So you're applying a science to it. So even if you think of something like social policy, you're looking at science to help you explain that. Someone would say, but what do you mean by using the science to explain it? So there are theories to explain why human beings behave in a particular way, why they choose these options. Whereas with humanities now, you're looking at things like language, you're looking at culture, you're looking at arts. I got it correct. Right?
Literature. Yeah.
See? She always
we are
intrigued.
social scientists to the core.
Yeah.
But we do understand the value of the humanities, and what is different for us at UCCI, we do offer literary studies, which gives us the opportunity to explore and to expound upon things like the artistic element and that expression that is, ingrained in the humanities, literature, Caribbean literature, music. It allows us to do all of that. But I think it also gives us an opportunity for students to be able to engage in cross-disciplinary studies, because they do have the opportunity to select electives. So even if you're a social scientist, you can gain exposure to the humanities, because both, they're equally important. Although for social scientists, it's the first among equals. But for us, being able to share the value of either of what falls within either of the disciplines with students, that is very important for us. And you were also sharing about how we see our role being just across the street from the secondary school. And for me, I do want students to see the value of their local public institutions. That is, whether it's the Cayman Islands, whether just from a regional perspective, for students to have that confidence in local and regional institutions, and to understand that what is being offered in humanities at UCCI, you're probably not going to get a course in Caribbean literature where you would learn about Roy Budden or, some of the Caymanian greats or some of the regional greats. If you went to, and I do want students to go off, don't get me wrong, but I do think for them to see the value of staying on island, at least for a portion of their education, and getting that grounding and understanding their identity and their heritage and their culture, and being able to better integrate and assimilate and to share their localized knowledge and experiences when they go on. Those are some of the things that we try to do with the students, and that's the example that we want to set at UCCI.
Dwayne, just also to add that within our division, we also have teacher education. So that is also part of our cross humanities and social sciences.
Thanks for emphasizing that part. I was going to ask you about that in a second. And the reason I appreciate you playing along, as it were, is that I think too many times as a society, we don't look inward. We always, refer to scripture and says a prophet is not without honor save in his own country. And we take it on board. And for some reason, when we look at investment, it's not just the building, it's not just the acquisition of technology or the hiring of staff, it's us, the people, the students who participate in the teaching and the learning. And through time, I love almost all music, just about all. And I love country, I love calypso, I love classical in particular. Right before the news break at 12, on Air Talent Doc, he played a song, George Jones, Who's Gonna Fill Their Shoes? And we think about it, Trey Evans has a song, West Indies, Where Are Your Heroes? If a society can't look to its own, how can they celebrate its history, its heritage? And this is where I think stuff like the humanities come in. A classical education of way back when encompass all that is today now talked about as STEM. I want to bring us to that part where we see the importance of the value add from knowledge acquisition and sharing, right, Dean? I'll make a really precocious student, actually.
Absolutely, knowledge acquisition and doing so, and understanding knowledge creation and acquisition from a Caribbean perspective as well. You know, understanding the historical value, yes, understanding the philosophical value, but also being able to situate that within the Caribbean experience. And I think that that is something that, you know, UCCI can offer when you look at universities, colleges all over the world. When we consider what the future of UCCI looks like, we have to think about what we are giving to students that is different, that we are incentivizing them to stay. And for me, I can say that is one of the experiences that we can give them. Contextually relevant training experiences, even if they do social work, they do teacher education, they understand how to integrate certain things in the classroom in a localized context that they're not necessarily going to get if they were in Germany, for example. You know, it's not place-based, it's not contextually relevant. So those are some of the key things that we would want to share with persons coming to the open house, that, you know, we do want persons to go abroad, but we also, part of the social sciences conversation is talking about brain drain and how it affects the Caribbean region, how it affects the Cayman Islands. It's no different. And being able to plug that gap in the employment sector. We don't want to have that over-reliance on importation of labor. We want to empower Caymanians to be the next teachers, the next social workers, and to understand where the gaps are in their own society. So that is very, very important for us in the medium and in the long term. And we do want prospective and current students to understand how they fit into the bigger picture, not just at UCCI, but in the Cayman Islands.
And this is, you know, something we've heard in relation to different aspects, but I think it applies across the board. You know, think globally, but act locally. And it's the same with education. If we have our people, right, Ms. Felicia, seeing and acting and integrating, participating, but also directing what is going to be, you know, the next educator that we produce from UCCI, that next finance director, the next parliamentarian. You know, that global perspective is important, but how do you ensure that a specific uniqueness that is Cayman is front and center?
Right. So you are correct, and that is why we use like case studies throughout our learning experience and teaching and learning experience. We use the case studies. So we're based here. Something occurs, or we read an article in the newspaper. You know, today, tomorrow we go in the classroom. We can incorporate that into our teaching, our learning, into our discussion points. So we're not just giving them, as you said, the global standards in terms of the education, but we're also allowing them to translate that learning and apply it to the local context, what is happening around them. And that's a win-win situation.
Dean, from that perspective, I mean, if you look at the Caribbean region, sometimes across the board we can see how we are more alike, even globally. But there is, I think, increasing a necessity for us to look individually, our impact, negative as well as the positive, and celebrate without, you know, being excluded. From the social sciences perspective at UCCI, the microcosm of the Cayman Islands is that we have almost everybody from everywhere represented. To me, it's a fantastic thing. It's probably not unlike my father and the seafarers of his day. They traveled the globe. They went everywhere, saw everybody, and they came back in one big happy family. That campus environment at UCCI, especially in the humanities and social sciences, that classroom learning is a place I'd like to return.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is such a valuable experience for the students to build cultural intelligence, because if we are saying to them, we are preparing you not just for the Cayman Islands, but for the world, we are already giving them the exposure with the number of nationalities that we have locally as well as in the classroom. And when they are able to go off, not just with a level of cultural intelligence and an understanding of different cultures, where different people are from, different customs, different norms, but their own, and they are able to articulate their own interests. They are able, even if you don't participate in certain local customs and norms, if you went off to Oxford, you must be able to share what is distinctive about your own country. And sometimes you run into the situation where people do not even know where your country is because we are so small as islands in the region. And you want to be able to say, okay, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. Someone may not know where that is on the map, but I can reference other islands in the region and share, these are some of the practices, the customs, the norms that we have, shared customs and norms that bind us as a region. You want to be able to share that because that is the flow of knowledge that you want. You don't want knowledge just filtering downward. You want to be able to have that type of diffusion where people do understand the space that you come from and what are some of the things that are relevant to you, and to understand how you can contribute to a space that you may be inheriting and vice versa.
Felicia, if not, I would say then specifically in our schools, but our tertiary schools, where those formative years that we may have had prior to entering, say, UCCI, are now being cemented as to who we are, our confidence. Would it not be then imperative for our tertiary schools to ensure that the Caymanian child has a Caymanian voice that reflects Cayman as opposed to being consumed?
Consumed with what?
That's why I paused.
Consumed with
That's
what?
why I paused, because I wasn't quite sure what Dwayne wanted me to respond to there. But yes, within the tertiary education, we promote our students developing their sense of identity. We know that when they come as teenagers, late teenagers, that is still a high point in terms of peer pressure, not quite sure what they want to do or who they want to be. The experimentation issues come into play there. They are struggling to grow up and assert themselves as an adult. They're not quite there. They believe they are, but that's okay. But that is what I think also having the benefit of being able to study at home where you still have the support, some guidance. It is a small school, so you will have someone looking in and saying, hello, I'm a little bit concerned there, focus. You seem to be, just not quite going where you need to go here. So that is really one of the benefits, I think, of being within our environment. You will get the support, and in that way you will establish your identity.
Yeah. And as we go into the break, that word consume is, that just left there hanging. If you look at it, it can have many connotations, right? And it's the one thing that I like with the English language in particular. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, it's what is inferred, implied, what's invited. Academics, let us pause. And when we return May 16th, we want to invite you to be a part of it. We talk about social work and maybe its importance in mental health, and maybe focus on not only what we know it to be in the public sector, but increasingly more and more organizations in the private sector are employing social workers. If you don't believe me, hey, I only lie on days ending in Y. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square, and I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what, though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
This Mother's Day, Digicel wants to take you to brunch. We're giving away brunch vouchers for you and mom to enjoy a delightful feast together. Winning is easy. Simply activate the postpaid Supreme plan or the 30-day Prime Max plan, and you could be our lucky winner. Don't let the chance to treat mom to a special day out slip away. Visit your nearest Digicel store today or hop onto the My Digicel app for your shot at winning. Make this Mother's Day a memorable one with Digicel.
Hi, this is Juliana O'Connor Conley, the Honorable Premier of the Cayman Islands. I'm inviting you to come out to the March for Jesus, Saturday, 18th of May, 2024. Thank you very much.
Join us for the March for Jesus on the 18th of May, 2024, starting at the 7 Mile Public Beach at 3 p.m. Then for our Thank You Jesus Praise and Worship concert starting at 6:30 p.m. on Albert Panton Street. For more information, visit our website at www.christian.ky and then click on the March for Jesus 2024 tab. See you at the March for Jesus.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us, and to Miss Felicia, Madam Dean, thanks very much. It's one thing, I believe, for us to see what is there and talk about it. It's another to pick it up, to take up the mantle, and to, in this case, attend classes, virtual or in person. Open up the textbook. I still like, actually books. But if you turn on the page of things electronically, well, hey, that works for you. But to get that, but it isn't just the acquisition of that paper at the end of the day. So, worthwhile accomplishment and very deserving that you have this thing. But it's about what it gives you, the confidence to speak, the, encouragement to press on. Right, Miss Felicia?
Yeah, so you're speaking to the value of an education, and whatever you learned when you were younger, Dwayne, that is still the same sentiment that we express, that education will open those doors for you. That's what you're talking about. Yeah. It will help you to develop. It will give you a sense of authority when you speak. You're speaking from an informed perspective. You've got the knowledge. You can help to create a change process within your community, within your society, within the global environment. You can
and you serve as an example to others. I can do it, so can you.
Yes.
And chances are that other person has, they don't realize it sometimes, a greater skill set, greater access. They're quote unquote smarter, but for whatever reason, they just weren't encouraged. Yeah. And if you do it, then they go, okay, it can be done.
Yeah.
In saying that, though, I was asking just prior to the break, we sometimes see careers like social work, and we have that in the public sector, or maybe in that quasi-public sector, but we don't appreciate how many social workers, whatever they call, but that training initially is also in large organizations in the private sector.
Oh, absolutely. So way back in the 80s, social workers started to go into what was called an industrial social work. And basically they went in and they took a lot of the HR jobs, and then HR did another thriving business and came back, separate. This is a different discipline. Social workers are trained, or we are still training social workers in areas like alternative dispute resolution and mediation and so on. And so we see that attorneys have that now as a specialized area, but social workers were being trained in that area long before even I was trained. So those are some of the areas that we still work in. It's not just the clinical social work interventions. In the private sector, you can think about looking at, if you think about voluntarism or voluntary organizations. So we can have social workers helping, for example, in our crisis centers, in our Cancer Society, in our Jasmine, we are helping people to deal with loss. We're helping them to come to terms with making decisions about wills. We have social workers who work with veterinary social work. Basically, people love their animals. They've got their animals that serve as their therapeutic.
The support animals, equine therapy even.
Exactly. Yeah. So social workers are also going into those areas. We have a lot of them now involved in what we call the green social work. So with every emphasis around climate change and energy efficiencies and what is happening within our societies, how weather and all these changes are impacting us, social workers are also going in there to support in terms of developing policies, in terms of looking at how do we help people prepare for crises, disaster preparedness. They're working in that area. Anywhere you can find social workers.
And with that, the new reference earlier, social work and mental health.
Yes.
Right. Sometimes we don't see that connection. And as Ms. Felicia referenced, that mediation, the arbitration even, that conflict and dispute resolution, sometimes the component of mental health, we can get that training and then maybe get into applied psychology, maybe become a clinical psychologist.
Precisely.
Yes.
So that's one of the things, again, that we want to do at the open house, because sometimes people's knowledge is so limited or so generic or so general about the field in and of itself, and some of the opportunities that you can, like Ms. Felicia just referenced, green social work. People are just so excited about the idea of green social work, about gender equality, about dispute resolution, and those types of things that are specifically relevant for our localized context and regional space. So for us to be able to share with prospective students who can come into UCCI, and we can show them the options, outline clear pathways for them in terms of the contributions that they can make in their own space, I think that is something that is really important. And COVID did show us, what are some of the possibilities for social work, the social services sector, psychology, and we do have some really, really versed educators in our division that we want persons to come and meet and greet and hear from, and really have that interaction with them and understand some of the flexible options that we have available to our students. And they can start at the associate's level, go all the way to the bachelor's level. So we're really, really looking forward to sharing some of those.
I think, too, it just shows how they all overlap. And
absolutely.
And to be available at UCCI, it's that first step, that undergrad degree. Maybe that stepping stone for a public
greater things, public service.
It just might be. So the open house is coming up on May 16th.
Thursday, May 16th.
Okay.
Yes.
What time is it? Open
6
house half
o'clock,
hour?
6 to 8.
Okay.
And you're welcome to join us as well.
There's a program for you there as well.
There is, there is. I actually was talking to, the public policy aspect. I just have something coming up that might put a kink in it.
Yeah. But you can also decide you just want to come and do a course. That's what universities are there for, to allow people who've got an interest and you just want to test, you want to do a particular course, you can come in and sign up for a course.
Thanks for reminding us, because with another parent, we actually did a math course years ago. We had done O-level math and didn't do too bad, but It's been 50 years since, right? You don't remember some of those things. Your child and grandchild is struggling. Maybe some of you just wanted to know, and now you're matured. We all learn it differently. Excellent idea. Come do a literature course, a math course. You have so much on offer.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad that you made time, and I'm hoping that as we, the collective we in our society, understand the importance of education, that the investment is in the buildings only. It's getting us as the students to be in the class, to exchange. That 80-year-old who is sitting next to the 18-year-old, there's so much learning that can take place from one to the other.
Certainly.
Yes.
Any closing thoughts, Dean, that you want to share with the listeners?
UCCI is the place to be for the premier tertiary education experience. We do have something that is unique. You do have the opportunity to get context-specific education while preparing you for a global experience. So we really do want to encourage prospective students who are uncertain, on the fence on whether UCCI is the choice for them and whether social sciences is the choice for them. We do want to share much more with our community. It's a community space. We want everyone to have access. We want education to be fully democratized. So we are inviting everyone to register. If you don't register and you turn up, we will still invite you in. But we do want persons, they can go via the website, ucci.edu.ky, to register to join us next Thursday in the Cascade Room.
Next Thursday in the Cascade Room. All right, I'll try my best to remind people of it.
Thank you.
And to attend as well. I look forward to seeing you.
All right. Thanks very much. Miss Felicia, you and your team have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you so much for having us, Kane.
All right. Well, when we come back from the news, our friends from the Red Cross will share with us. And then at 1:30 and then 1 o'clock, we have the YMCA. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
We are Radio Cayman.
Covering Cayman Right, Little Cayman, and Grand Cayman.
1 in a million. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins. The Early Childhood Care and Education Unit of the Ministry of Education is hosting help sessions to support parents in applying for funding from the Early Childhood Assistance Program for the upcoming school year. Parents in need of financial assistance are invited to attend these sessions, which will last for 2 hours each. The sessions will take place throughout Grand Cayman in May and June. For more information, contact the ECCE unit by telephone at 244-3155 or email at ecap@gov.ky. In international news, the Ukrainian Security Service says it has foiled a Russian plot to assassinate President Volodymyr Zelensky and other high-ranking Ukrainian officials. 2 Ukrainian Government Protection Unit colonels have been arrested. The SBU said they were part of a network of agents belonging to the Russian State Security Service. They had reportedly been searching for willing executors among Mr. Zelensky's bodyguards to kidnap and kill him. Toronto police have said a security guard was shot overnight outside the home of Canadian rapper Drake. It comes amid his escalating war of words with U.S. rap rival Kendrick Lamar. Police said suspects in a vehicle shot the guard at the corner of the Park Lane Circle mansion on Tuesday before fleeing the scene. It remains unclear if Drake was at home when the incident occurred or whether he was a target of the shooting. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
When you have a sports or fitness-related injury, trust the expertise of the HSA Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic to get you back in the game. Our internationally trained and certified physicians specialize in sports traumatology, sports medicine, pain management, and orthopedic surgery. For treatment of common injuries such as tendonitis, arthritis, tennis elbow, rotator cuff, or knee tears, schedule a consultation with the Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic at Smith Road Medical Center by calling 949-8600 or visit hsa.ky for more information.
At Kirk Market, it's so easy to eat well and find healthy options. With their fresh veggies from local farmers, hormone-free chicken, local seafood, and grass-fed meats, Kirk Market has delicious, quality food at the best prices. And you must check out their fresh salad bar, hot bar, and med bar for daily healthy options on the go. Their delicious dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients such as prime meats and organic veggies. Eating great is important to me. That's why Kirk Market is my store. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and shop happy.
Born in Watering Place, Cayman Brac, on the 8th day of July 1936, Captain Fred Elman Scott was the fifth child born to Nalio and Vera Scott. Captain Scott was a quiet-natured child who liked going on the bluff with his grandfather Oscar Brown, swimming every Saturday evening and playing cricket down where Miss Alamay's house sits now. He was very studious at Creek Elementary School and did very well under the tutelage of his favorite teacher, Miss Isley Connolly in BE. Following the tragic death of his father at sea, at age 14 he left school to work with Arnold Foster to support his family. In 1953 he joined his first ship, the Beretta, a local cargo vessel, signing on as deck boy, working his way up to boatswain. From 1953 until 2006, some 52 years, Captain Scott made his living working off the seas.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
The public consultation period for Cayman's new National Health Strategy is currently underway. Follow the Ministry of Health and Wellness on Facebook for information on upcoming town hall meetings, radio appearances, and other ways to tell us what you think. Email your comments to mohfeedback@gov.ky or log on to gov.ky/health-wellness to complete the survey. Your voice matters, Cayman.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square, and I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And thanks to Ms. Mitchell Paula Juarez Robinson.
Well done.
I won't try it again today, but but thank you for joining us as Director of Philanthropy and Community Engagement at the YMCA. You know, I was thinking of the discussion just prior with our friends over at UCCI, and now with you at the YMCA. There's such strong synergies.
Yes.
And I think it's a healthier, reflection of a maturing society, but one that puts safety and security of its people, at the center.
Yes, it's priority.
It's a priority, and it's great because if the parent can have the child in a space where the child comes away with, positively engaged, whether that's the school as expected, or whether that's programming as extracurricular, or even, much of what the YMCA does. So I'm excited to hear. And then this month, the month of May,
yes,
DCFS has had it on the calendar for decades now, and it's a wonderful time.
It's absolutely a great time for us. We're very excited for Child Month. It's an observance throughout the Cayman Islands. And what better for YMCA, one of the many agencies that are uniting to this month's theme, moving from challenge to change, where we really embrace that opportunity to actually spend time not only with our students, the children that attend the after-school program of the YMCA at the government schools, both at primary level and at high school, and also both at Cayman Brac and in Grand Cayman. But we're going to be spending evenings with their parents. This is the month where Tuesday nights and Thursday nights, between 5 and 6:30 p.m., our YMCA leaders, the staff that are already working at those government school sites, welcome their children with their parents for activities that are fun, that are engaging. There's a lot of social emotional learning under that umbrella of spend it together evenings that I would love, to share a little bit more today with you.
Please do, because as I was thinking about our discussion, and I appreciate you, coming here. As parents, we're understandably, committed to our jobs, whether we, look at it in any capacity. It's not just about showing up and doing our work for the organization, serving the customer, or producing the product or whatever, getting the paycheck, paying the bills, the roof over the head, the food on the table, those things. But that takes us away so many times from wanting to be with the child.
Yes.
This, I think, gives us a chance to understand why we go to work, but also the importance of having that opportunity to share with that child.
It brings a lot of purpose, actually, and we can absolutely appreciate that. For some parents, it's actually very challenging to take time away from their work duties to actually spend an evening with their child for various reasons. There's no judgment there. But this is the time where we want for them to focus on time with their very own. They're doing such creative, fun activities like, there's going to be some bit of clay. They can make a picture from clay. One of the ideas is like to do a swan, very pretty, even with like tissue paper. It's so much fun, very creative. But it really brings that dynamic where parents are along with their children working together for this great project. And of course, the Y puts some refreshments available for the parents and the children, thanks to donors and supporters that actually follow our efforts on in the month of May.
And I think, too, what is perhaps to me becoming increasingly apparent is that there's a growing disconnect. We are working supposedly for this thing, but is it a shared, clear, defined objective?
I get you. Yes, and, it's another challenge actually that we could face year round, and this is why I think we're very proud of the work that we do, and most important, we're very proud of our team members that deliver high quality curriculum and activities on a yearly basis. But I think this is the month that puts a spotlight on how much care the staff puts in really bringing together the efforts of their student and the capabilities of their parents to actually work together and focus on something just as if nothing else was happening but the two of them or three of them, depends on the activity.
It is interesting, and I want, genuinely, I want to be a honest, positive person. But it's easy for me to be jovial, right? And there are times, forgive me, there are times when I say some things on air, and it's just the way you say it is the word. People can infer what they want, and it doesn't have to be a double entendre. It doesn't have to be, some of those things where people, but our minds allow us to infer sometimes what it is that we, in our own character, feel.
Yes.
But sometimes, too, we can put something out there and just go, and let people. But why I share that is that in the Cayman context, if we take and share with our friends who are from elsewhere, they remind us of the things that are so easily taken for granted. The sunshine, the cool breeze, the easy laughter. But as parent, whether you're employer or employee, and subscribing to the notion that the family that plays together, the family that prays together, whatever that family is doing together that is positive and wholesome, it's going to unite.
Absolutely.
And cement those family bonds.
Yes, and that's one of the aims also, because I can appreciate parental skills don't come natural for everyone. I can also say nobody gives you a handbook to be a parent. So you're already navigating this difficult time as an adult. And how exciting is actually these times for children. They grow so quickly, they learn so quickly, they want to discover the world. So parents also need a little bit of like guidance, and throughout these evenings we actually help them navigate. Some of these activities actually are things that they can take back home. When you incorporate social emotional learning component to these activities, for instance, these are developing skills that the kid could solve problems quicker or more efficiently. And if as a child you're starting to learn how to solve the problems that you're facing at that age, it's definitely going to help you navigate better your adult life when complex situations will come your way, either at the workplace or at home or just in life in general. So I think that bond that creates, it's integral, it's critical, and it's something that we encourage on a daily basis, of course. But this is the month when on Tuesday evenings and Thursday evenings, depending on the site, we are from East End to West Bay and Cayman Brac, our staff spends a good hour and a half, 2 hours, really speaking to the parents about social emotional learning and some of the activities or things that they can do back home so that they can continue to carry what we deliver on a daily basis. But also, how do we actually do this long term? Because you want that consistency back in the house and bring it back for the children
so
in the school side.
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yes, this month.
Right. And maybe, as you shared, for some parents, we need to learn how to reconnect. We're busy doing. So you give them little ideas and reminders. Hey, go back home. It may be on Friday nights in your family. It may be on a Sunday morning. Whatever that day is, you're making a commitment for that time.
Yes.
To be as a family.
Especially there's a lot of arts and crafts throughout the month that this staff is going to put together for the children and their parents. Kind of easy-ish that you can actually, on a Sunday afternoon or on a long weekend, that we have another coming up this month, just to bring back home. And it could be something that you even extend to your other relatives, and you do it as a multi-generational activity, on a Sunday afternoon. So it's quite interesting because a lot of the parents who participated last year had such great feedback about the sessions. Some of them were so surprised of how great it can be to really focus and dedicate their time, an hour and a half, just to that fun learning activity, and how they took some of the learnings back home, and they still talk. The children still talk about it, and it's now in a year. It was last year, May.
And this is something you see, you do it annually in the month of May, but perhaps from the child's perspective, we may know, what the mother and the father does. We may appreciate it, but we may not, for whatever reason, have that opportunity to fully understand that your father may be a nurse or a police officer. Your mother may be the construction superintendent. She may be the sitting magistrate.
Yes.
But that time of what she's doing is absolutely important. But she also needs to be able to say, okay, let me remember that I'm a parent as well.
Exactly. And how beautiful is for the parents to see firsthand how great their children develop problem-solving skills or just the arts and craft in itself. Like, that's personally one of my favorite things, watching the parents be fascinated by how much their children can accomplish. And I'm not saying they don't realize it on another way or at home, but it's just so beautiful to see when they're just dedicating this time to each other. And of course, at some point, other agencies are invited to take part of those evenings, because given the amount of foot traffic that we could get from parents attending, if an FRC is available or an Inclusion Cayman is available to join in the evening, just to be there for additional information. We had Alex Panton Foundation at some point, if I'm not mistaken, last year. So it's just so important that we don't work in silos. Just that maturity of society you were referring to earlier, that is so critical for us, because we want to be, I would consider ourselves at some point, we will be a destination hub for all things our community needs. As we grow the Y, as we grow our facility, as we grow the programming, which, already for public government schools, we are looking at over 1,000 children that we look at on a daily basis. Well, school is in, but when school is out, then we have camp. And, 50% of the children are from our after-school program attending camp. And summer camp is coming too, so that's another exciting time.
You might not realize it, but I mean, this is almost a month away, starting and ending almost at the same breath, right?
Yes.
So school will be out in short order. You have summer camps.
Yes, we have 8 weeks of amazing summer camp coming. As a matter of fact, just about 4 days ago, we launched our handbook for camp. It's just basically an exciting tool for parents to get the best guidance on how to navigate booking the fun and the learning that is coming for their children. July and August weeks start July 2nd. July 8th is my birthday. That Monday they kick off the theme of Disney, so I'm really excited for that one myself. But there's so many different themes that are going to get the children so excited about learning and being creative and making new friends. And really with camp, as we have a blend of children from the government schools but also from the private schools, it turns into a very beautiful experience for them to just really interact and spend a lot of time throughout the summer months.
And they get to realize that they're interacting no matter what school they're from.
Right.
They're all very similar.
Yes.
And in short order, they're going to be the adults and engaging in business deals, negotiating as co-workers, as business partners, whatever that is in society, forming and forging those friendships now. I think are important for that health and well-being of society.
And you touch on something really spot on. One of the beauties about the Y is our values, and those are at the core of everything that we do in our activities, from baseball to softball to youth football to the after school, of course, and camp. But just integrating those values into the day-to-day and how the children interact amongst them, as you said, it doesn't really matter if it's a private school student or a government school student. They're blending very nicely. They're growing together. They're having fun together. And for us, it's just so beautiful to see that happening as we grow the activities, as we grow the Y.
And I think that's where we take ownership. We, the collective, we, again, in society. And if there are those who are listening, I think we need to appreciate that if we're going to be a strong, healthy society, we need to come together. And whatever it is that we don't like as a society, what's the inconsiderate driving on our roads, the speed, those are things that we need to own, acknowledge, and do something about. Just like with our children, as they engage, as they learn. Back to those, Tuesdays and Thursdays, the evenings as parents.
Yes.
If the parent is the employer or the employee, making an example of saying, hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to spend this time to not just reconnect, but maybe look and evaluate. Hey, what is it that my child be doing all these time? Let's see if this is actually providing value for money, as it were. Is it anything that can be better about it? Is there a way, this parent, through the company or the individual, contribute to improve
absolutely
it?
Yeah, and absolutely feedback is always welcome, and it's so nice when we do have the parents attending, because we hear from them, and so many are actually really good stories about how their children are doing at school during the daytime, and how they bring the stories of what they did at after school when they're at dinner that same day or during the week. So it's just so lovely to hear the positive feedback. And of course, as we grow, we continue to hear any comments, any recommendations. We're always welcoming of those.
Right. So, Ms. Paula, from that perspective, for the parents, well, 2 questions. When does it start? Today's Tuesday. And what, if anything, do parents need to do?
Yes, so they have already been advised of which school site is hosting what date. So not all the public schools happen on the same date. So today, don't quote me on this one, but I believe it's North Side, and then Thursday is East End, right? And then next Tuesday could be West Bay, and then Georgetown. And then the following, because we have 9 primary school sites, and of course the Cayman Brac site. So we have to rotate, but it's our aim, and it's in our hearts, that not only in the month of May we can host these evenings, as we receive more donations and more support from donors, we could host these evenings even 2 or 3 times a year, as we hope that we can get those funds in 2024.
Yeah, and I think too, when we look at some other societies and jurisdictions where that parent-child dynamic continues, we don't just ship them off to school right away. We have time, and we see that ethos even part of the work environment, where they take time and they spend time
Yes.
with their co-workers, not as a retreat, but as just an expected ordinary day occurrence.
Yes, and I think this touches base on a little bit of what we spoke last month when we had the 5 day of action, child safety and child safeguarding. I don't know if you had an opportunity to review, but the RCIPS stats report from 2023 are now out, and shocking, not shocking, but there is an interesting number of growing number of referrals about child safeguarding, and it's important for our staff to be equipped to better handle this too. So as we develop more activities to nurture the youth, we also have to continue to keep as a priority child safeguarding.
And I think what it speaks to is us, again, the collective we, the adults, in particular the parents, ensuring that our partnerships with the different entities, but not in silos. The child leaves home, goes to school, goes to an activity. Weekend comes, the child goes to socialize. The community needs to be engaged, involved, informed, aware, but responsible, accountable.
Absolutely. Because in school time, the children could be at the government schools for the after-school program, for the regular activities. But come summertime, the children from the public schools beautifully blending with children from other private or other homeschooling, and they will be at our camp. They'll be having fun together. They'll be growing together, and these will be the friends your children will be making long-lasting friendships with.
And that's one of the many wonderful advantages that is about Cayman. You can attend different schools, live next door to each other, and you can engage in different sports, be team members, and none of those things, right, will divide you.
Right.
But if you come together as a people, it's so easy to interact and engage.
Totally.
We have to do that, but we have to make it a very conscious effort on our part.
Well, I think as adults, we have to commit ourselves to develop the platforms for the youth, for our children, our teenagers, to really be best equipped for the times that they're living and the times they will be living, for the jobs they will be taking, which, as we see, they'll be slightly different from what we are hosting as adults ourselves. So, the Y is committed, remains committed, and one of our ethos, as you may call them, is leaving no child behind, in the manner that we do not leave any children out of our registrations if their parents cannot afford it. So the Y is very proud of the financial assistance program that we host. Last year, by summer camp, we had already extended over $200,000 in financial assistance to parents who could not afford those registration fees for their children to our programs. So in 2023, we will soon be back to your studio to talk about the Caring Campaign, which is that dedicated effort to fundraise to help those parents. Because in 2024, we will need to raise about $300,000 to help those parents. So it's an incredible effort the Y does, but because of our commitment, we will continue to help every possible parent who is not able to register their children due to financial restrictions.
And this is where we had to say $1, a short and a day late. But if we, can give one little bit, someone else gives a little bit more. Whether we're buying something and someone else is contributing, or whether we're just making a contribution, pool together. We're taking ownership. We're not just the recipient and the beneficiary, but we're also a contributor and a participant.
Yeah.
And I think this is where we need to stop, looking at things and being a free rider, but instead, being that conscious, deliberate, benefactor.
Yes.
So I like what you're saying. Now, Ms. Paula, it is an activity for the mother-child, as we observe, and in partnership with DCFS, an important emphasis on our children. But for that parent who has yet to engage with the YMCA, maybe the child is part of that school program, but that's about it. The parent knows they're going to be there till 6 p.m. to be collected from school. How do you get that parent to come on and say, hey, take a look, see why we're here? Here's a perfect, spend it together evening that you can see the importance of it.
Yes, our school staff has been dedicating efforts to communicate with the parents of and guardians of the children who we care on the after school program. They're always very welcoming of any parent to reach out. We're, of course, just a phone call away, an email away. If you just go to ymcacayman.ky, you can directly connect to us via email or give us a call, and we'll redirect you to the director in charge, in this case of the after school program. We have a director for camp. We have a director for softball, our programs at the Field of Dreams. So they are very specialized in their niche, and we would be more than welcome to speak with any parent outside of this month of Child Month, outside of the Spend It Together evenings, when they just want to learn more about our program, because we want to make sure they are fully aware of what we are delivering, which is high quality curriculum and activities for the youth. But if they want to have, or they're interested in learning more and they want to have more information, we're always welcoming to communicate back with them.
Well, I appreciate you reaching out to us. I'm glad that we can have this partnership, and maybe as a community, whether it is us sponsoring on the Writing Song program or volunteering, even more importantly, our skills are from something I heard Miss Marlene reference, and I've borrowed it and created it for it, of our time, our talent, our treasure.
Yes,
we give because it's going to benefit others. So
absolutely. So already announcing we'll be back to chat with you about Caring Campaign. That's a very important effort of the YMCA every year. We can only make it with the support of everyone in the community, not just corporate or business, but individuals, families who are actually aware of what we do, and new people to the island who, are used to know of the Y back in the US, Canada, England. We're around the world. And so they have familiarity with the program, and they are able to contribute in any way or sort to our Cayman Islands YMCA. So we're more than happy to welcome them also.
Well, looking forward to having you back in, and I'm hoping that our parents will, spend it together in the evenings at the government schools and see what's happening. Who knows, that clay model of that swan maybe displayed in the studio.
I'm going to try it myself. I'm so excited. If I make a pretty good one, I'll bring it here for the next one.
Yeah, I like it pretty good. Well, I know you'll give it a pretty good effort.
I will try.
Well, all the best to you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Looking forward to chatting with you again.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, listen, the Y does much, and those who, assist, whether volunteer or whether you are a benefactor, well, thank you. Now, when we come back, the Cayman Islands Red Cross going to be in the studio, and they're almost as old as Susan. Well, she just doesn't quite sure. We'll tell you what we mean when you return. So join us after the break. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square, and I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skin care, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drportercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
It's coming your way.
Clean Cayman Invasion 2024 for the entire month of May. Enjoy a whopping 35% off any $200 purchase.
And guess what, mothers?
We haven't forgotten about you. We have a special surprise for you.
And it's not just for now, it's all summer long.
Visit us at www.cleancayman.com or all of our social media platform, or call us at 949-9955.
You know we have the 3 H's.
Health, home, and happiness.
And that is what we're about.
Clean Cayman Invasion.
If you're a parent, you know that providing your child with a quality early childhood education can be expensive. However, the Ministry of Education offers financial assistance through its Early Childhood Assistance Program to help qualifying Caymanian families cover the costs at registered early childhood settings. Visit our online application portal at moeapplications.gov.ky to learn more and get started. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us. And I really thank all of a fantastic team, in particular Miss Susan, not just because we've been here almost 2 decades doing this show. Hey, Sue! But as I introduced the director for the Cayman Islands Red Cross, Miss John Doe Obi, you recognize that Susan does an incredible job. Amazing job. I mean, now to have the balance, the cameras for the social media, as well as the audio and for the radio, and then to deal with me, that's a lot. She should get a medal for that.
She should.
I'll nominate her next time. No, I just want to say publicly thanks, because it's kind of, as Ms. Paula was just sharing earlier, and her friends in UCCI, it's the team that you work with. It not just gives you longevity, it gives you not just prosperity, it gives you a sense of accomplishment. And when you can look at organizations that have been around for centuries, there's something that must be right. And I think it's the people who buy into it. So to you, Ms. John Doe, and to all of the Red Cross, Crescent across the globe, what you do has been phenomenal.
Thank you.
All right. Well, tell us about it, because there are many of us who have had family and friends who have been instrumental in the Red Cross over, the Cayman's formation, who may have only served for a few years volunteering, who may have been volunteering for the longest time, and they're unsung heroes, if there ever was such a thing.
No, absolutely. But even before we get into Cayman, let's look internationally.
Exactly.
Yeah, so internationally, tomorrow, which is May 8th, is actually Red Cross Day. So globally, all across the world, we've got Red Cross staff and volunteers coming together to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
And in a world where, unfortunately, vulnerabilities are increasing, it's no longer just natural disasters, but you can see how many wars we've seen over just the last couple of years, and the impact it has on people. And as a result, it's like there's more work for Red Cross volunteers who are in these communities to support these most vulnerable people within their community. So, yeah.
And I'm going to be guided by you, but you referenced the wars, the conflicts, the different things that require, skilled, trained personnel, whether disaster management or medical relief, to be able to get into places who will not, be impaired in doing their things. Doctors Without Borders, for instance, just trying to go in and giving of their abilities, but also for us as a society to respect, to recognize, but also protect and ensure the safe passage of Red Cross personnel, for instance, has been instrumental. Whatever happens between the nations as they try to, determine the outcome of whatever conflict, but the people who are affected need care, urgent care.
No, absolutely. One of the things is the Red Cross emblems, as you see on my
yes,
shirt. Yeah, now this is a small one, so this is just to identify. But when we see a really huge emblem, like we will see in in war zones, that's really to say this area is protected. So these emblems are there to protect people. And this is enshrined in law, national laws, the Geneva Conventions, to make sure that civilians are protected. Because unfortunately, when there are wars, who gets affected most? It's always the civilians. Yeah. So the Red Cross emblem is usually put like on roofs of a large building so that people can go and seek shelter. And
it's a safe zone, right?
Yeah, it's a safe zone. And they're supposed to be, countries are supposed to really work with their military so that they train them. Yeah. And that's the unique role that the Red Cross has with governments. So you might hear the term, the Red Cross is an auxiliary to their public authorities, and that's what we are. Yeah. Our job is to work very closely with government. We have a very unique relationship. In fact, in Cayman and maybe in other countries, they say, Red Cross is a charity. Actually, we're not a charity. The work that we do is charitable work, but we have an auxiliary status to work with our governments.
And that's something maybe at some point, as we talk about both the international perspective, but also the Cayman flavor, I gather many jurisdictions will pass legislation that recognizes the establishment of the Red Cross, its rights, roles, responsibilities, all those things. But then we, globally, as the geopolitical landscape is changing, have that semblance of civility and recognition that this space is a protected zone. No longer is there that honor and acknowledgement amongst competitors, but it's also globally essential that this thing is what it is so that society can continue. And maybe we're not seeing that. Maybe it's because we're not as people anymore understanding what it is, what it represents. Have we been misguided, misled, misinformed?
Yeah, we should be thankful because we live in a side of the world that's rather peaceful. But as we can see, you turn on your TV and it is not peaceful on the other side of the world. So this is when these emblems really matter. And these are the times when people really need organizations like this to really be a safe haven for them and a place where people can run for shelter. The other thing about the Red Cross are the 7 fundamental principles, of which one of them is impartiality. And humanity is our big one. Of course, neutrality, which means we don't take sides. So when there is a conflict between two countries, the Red Cross is there to take care of the people who need the support. So whether you're from Ukraine or Russia, or whether you're from Israel or Palestine, the Red Cross has to support your needs. And that's what we are. And we take that neutral stance. And as a result, has been a trusted organization globally for a very long time. And we have a part of the Red Cross called the ICRC, and their job is to work in these zones with the local Red Cross to make sure that people are kept safe.
Right. And as we speak to Mr. John Dawes, the director for Cayman Islands Red Cross, integrity, I think, comes into play. And we, as the individual, but also as societies, can perhaps borrow an example. When we look to the integrity of the Red Cross, is personnel, not infiltrated by others, not anything other than you said, impartial, neutral, ensuring that when you go in, you're tending to the sick and wounded, and to ensure that there is that medical care irrespective of what may be transpiring. We want these people to receive that urgent medical care and attention that they need. So with that, tell us about the Red Cross. It's been here for a while, but I know internationally it's been 3-4 times longer.
Yeah, I think the International Red Cross movement, we call it the movement, has been around for about 161 years, founded by a Swiss gentleman called Henry Dunant, and his birthday happens to be May 8th, and that is why across the globe, every May 8th is called Red Cross Day, and that's the day where we really showcase the work that we do globally. In Cayman, we tend to have Red Cross Month because we need time just to basically talk about our various programs. But yeah, the Red Cross was born out of a war in 1859, so a very long time ago, way before World War I. This gentleman, was able to think about, watching a war and being horrified with what he saw and said, no, we need to help out. And so he started the whole premise of we need volunteers, we need people to help out. And that's how basically it started.
And this is where we're seeing, Miss Kennedy Shriver with the Special Olympics, with others, one individual can do something meaningful if there's a commitment, if it's consistent, and ensuring that it benefits globally. one person can make a difference. One human, flesh, as it were, not just a spirit being. So one individual, 161 years ago, is still impacting society in a positive way today.
Exactly. I mean, it just says, and that's the spirit of volunteerism. Sometimes we feel, oh, well, the problem is so big, we can't do anything. We can.
Yeah.
You do your part because you just don't know who you're going to impact. So it's very important for all of us to make sure that we have that volunteerism within us to say, how do we support our fellow human being?
Yeah, well, when we look at the sort of the global map, it seems to be changing almost by the second these days. I exaggerate a bit. How many sort of Red Cross entities, organizations, chapters exist?
So at the moment, the Red Cross movement has 192 national societies. And that's not even chapters. These are just countries. Because if you think about the United States, it's got 50 states. So they have their own different chapters. And of course, we in the Caribbean that are OTs, we are branches of the British Red Cross. So if you think about Bermuda, Cayman Islands, Anguilla, and the rest, we're actually branches. So it's a very large movement. I think we take pride in the fact that in every little community, there is a Red Cross.
Yeah.
So we tend to be the first responders on the ground in any sort of event, and that's quite important.
Knowing only a little bit, that's why I use the word chapter. You said almost 200, 192, right, in those countries. And then like in the Cayman context, there's a British Red Cross, but there are these sort of sub-entities, which in themselves are significantly impactful in their respective jurisdictions. So collectively, when you look at it, there's more than 192.
Oh, yeah.
And the same level of status and import, but also expectation of each of those entities as you would for the international one.
Yeah, exactly. And that is why it's probably the largest volunteer-based organization. And in any little community, our job is to train people to enhance their skills so they can support their community, whether it's an emergency response or just day-to-day vulnerabilities within each community.
Yeah. As we speak to Ms. John Doe, the director for the Cayman Red Cross, you referenced that many of us will look, at least in the Cayman context, and perhaps in other jurisdictions, as the Red Cross as being a charity, but you remind us all the time, no, if you do charitable work. But it is true, not just paid personnel and benefactors of sorts, but volunteers. I gather the Red Cross as an organization have a few volunteers.
Yeah, no, can I just say a shout out to all the Red Cross volunteers because they do an amazing job. We have about 250 volunteers within the Cayman Islands, including our sister island. So shout out to the volunteers in Cayman Brac if they're listening. And, these are people who have their day-to-day jobs, but they have decided that they want to give back to their community. So they take time. And so our responsibility as the staff of Red Cross is to make sure that we give them the best training so they can better respond within the community. Yeah.
And then from the CPR and other first aid courses that you do, individuals acquire skills that are good for them. That gives them a sense of competence and confidence in their own, environments, whether the family or travel or at work. And at some point, I gather you have another CPR course, first aid course coming up on a Saturday, not far from now.
Yeah, no, we have we do first aid courses every week. These are life-saving skills.
Yes.
Everyone should really have a valid certificate. I hope you've done yours.
I have. I actually need to get it done because it's only good for so long,
2 years.
Yeah.
2 years, but you get a first aid, CPR, and AED certificate, which is quite important. So we want to encourage people to do the course. You can do it over 2 evenings. If you can't do the whole day, we do during the week 5:30 to 8:30. That's 2 evenings. Or if you're busy during the week, you can do it on a Saturday, 9 to 3. It's a 6-hour course, but it's very interesting, very engaging, and you come out there feeling empowered.
And I'm glad you referenced the AED as we go into the break. For many of us initially, and probably still to some extent now, we see this thing and we go, oh, I don't know how to use this. It's on the wall. How do you even take it down? Where do the leads go? And it can be intimidating. Doing the course, you realize, it's like a new oven, until you know how to turn on the knobs. It's not that impossible, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm told we have to break, right, Miss Susan? And when we come back, Miss John Doe, would you continue to share with us some more?
Absolutely.
All right, please join us after the break.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
This Mother's Day, Digicel wants to take you to brunch. We're giving away brunch vouchers for you and mom to enjoy a delightful feast together. Winning is easy. Simply activate the postpaid Supreme plan or the 30-day Prime Max plan, and you could be our lucky winner. Don't let the chance to treat mom to a special day out slip away. Visit your nearest Digicel store today or hop onto the My Digicel app for your shot at winning. Make this Mother's Day a memorable one with Digicel.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
The public consultation period for Cayman's new National Health Strategy is currently underway. Follow the Ministry of Health and Wellness on Facebook for information on upcoming town hall meetings, radio appearances, and other ways to tell us what you think. Email your comments to mohfeedback@gov.ky or log on to gov.ky/health-wellness to complete the survey. Your voice matters, Cayman.
The Water Authority and National Trust are hosting a free public lecture on the geology and water of the Cayman Islands on Wednesday, 8th May at the Gladys B. Howard National Trust Visitor Center in Little Cayman. The lecture will be presented by Dr. Brian Jones, geology professor and author of Geology of the Cayman Islands. Doors open at 5:30 p.m. with the lecture scheduled from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Light refreshments will also be provided. For more information, please visit www.waterauthority.ky.
Our climate is changing, and so is Cayman. Stronger and more frequent hurricanes, longer periods of drought, sea level rise, and higher temperatures are already impacting our communities. If we take nature into account before we act, we can harness nature's benefits and reduce the devastation caused by natural disasters. Because when we put nature front and center, nature can provide the solutions.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks so much to Ms. John Doobie for joining us, the director of the Cayman Islands Red Cross. And tomorrow, she reminds us, internationally we celebrate Red Cross Day. 61 years ago?
161 for the whole Red Cross movement.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
One man, one person seeing a need as a result of not even a global war, but a conflict within his area, recognizing that somebody needs to respond. Someone needs to do something. Is that someone you? And I think he said yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. Now, we were talking prior, and I certainly want you to share with us, and hopefully through, as you share more of us, we find ways to contribute. I think everybody everywhere understands I have the utmost respect for the CERT teams. I know together with the HMCI Red Cross has been instrumental in delivering much of the training on Cayman Brac as in the districts in Grand Cayman. Skill sets that we get, that we can use in our own lives, that encourage and empower, but also gives us a sense of value, of meaning, of purpose. The things we can do if we do it together.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And as we sort of think we're getting into the season again, and well, not even with the season. I think we now, the way the world is, we're looking at emergency response on an annual basis. So it's no longer, we're going to relax until June 1st, hurricane season. But things can happen, as we saw with, the earthquake we had in January of
2020.
2020, yeah.
January
and of course,
20th.
Exactly. So things happen, and it's all about how do we support those who are vulnerable within our community.
Mhm.
So the whole premise of the CERT teams is really to build community resilience. So if you think about Ivan, if you look at a map of Cayman at a certain point, the island was flooded. Luckily, we had a low tide, and then the water receded. But just imagine if the water did not recede for us. We would have had communities that were cut off.
Mhm.
If you go into Hurricane Katrina, we saw all the images, communities were cut off. The government, even if they had money, they could not get to communities. And so the whole premise of CERTs is really to empower people, because the government or the Red Cross or any other organization may not be able to get to you at that time.
Mhm.
So let's empower you so you know who your vulnerable people are within your community, so you can lend a hand until help comes.
And
So
I
it's
think
quite important.
Sometimes we don't see ourselves as being vulnerable, as being that person that may be not just in need, but when something happens, we think we'll respond a certain way, only for it to, transpire that we're not. I say that to share that if we have the Red Cross certification for, first aid and other treatment, if we're part of the CERT, we may feel empowered. We may feel connected. We may actually feel sufficiently grounded that we can, instead of being a victim, we are there making a positive contribution.
No, absolutely. Especially in your community. I mean, if you're a part of a group and you meet quite regularly, then you're part of this team within your community. And what we try and train is to do like a vulnerability capacity assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the vulnerable within your community? Because they're the ones that will need help. And who has resources within your community in case something happens. And that's the whole premise. It's that going back to the sort of old-fashioned community thing where we all look after each other.
Yeah,
and that's basically what it is.
But we're today, we get busy, and sometimes we forget what it is. We lose connection, we lose community, and as a result, we are no longer conscious of what is happening to each individual citizen. They become nameless and faceless. This brings us, together. If we can celebrate, short order, 200 years of something that took one person to recognize that need, and now it went from that small space to an international community.
No, absolutely. If you think about Henry Dunant in 1859, when he was watching the war, he had a choice to just say, well, I can't deal with this and I'm going to move on. Because actually he was a businessman. So he had money. He wanted to make more money. But when he saw that, he just completely stopped, went to the neighboring villages, because he wasn't even from there. It was in a little town called Solferino in Italy. And he's from Switzerland, so two different countries. But he thought, I cannot see this and walk away. And so he just got help. And it's that whole thing of community humanity.
Yes.
Let me help my fellow human being, because you never know when you will need the help. So it's that spirit of supporting our fellow human beings, which is key.
How should it profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul, we're told, right? And he has an opportunity to just do what many of us do, understandably. We'll walk away. It's not...
It's not my problem.
Yeah. Not my monkey, not my circus.
Exactly.
Right? But then if everybody does that, we are pointing fingers and saying someone should, well, is that someone you? All right. As we continue the discussion, I want maybe through you to find out how we, because you talked about tens of millions of volunteers within the Red Cross internationally, the phenomenal team that you have here across all three islands contribute significantly, not just when there's a national disaster, but on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So how we can be a part of it and tell us more. I mean, you've got a lot of good things happening.
Yeah, absolutely. But just one story with regards to Henry Dunant, because even though he was a rich businessman, he's put in all his money into the Red Cross in 1863, sort of building this organization, and then he became poor and became quite sickly and moved into the mountains of Switzerland, and nobody heard from him for a very long time. But thankfully, there was a reporter who actually said, you know what, how did this whole thing start? And they found him as an old man in the mountains, and he told the whole story about how he witnessed the war. And they actually brought him back, and he was the first recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize. So whenever you think about Nobel Peace Prize, he was the first one to get it because of what he did for humanity. So it's quite an exciting story for us to remind us that, everything we do for others, he was recognized many, many years later, but it was still a good thing.
He did much for humanity, but he did it with humility.
Exactly.
And I think that's where, when I look at individuals that are champion something, what's their ethos? What is it that they're trying to achieve? Are they glorifying themselves, or are they actually contributing? Here's an example of one person who did what we are called to do: make the world a better place without seeking anything in return.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. No, from that though, at some point, you can share with us the Cayman story as well. Share with us the idea that it isn't just, Red Cross is synonymous with disaster relief, but there are things that we can do in peacetime that hopefully we don't have to be concerned about wartime. And right?
Yeah.
All right. Are we taking that news break, Ms. Susan? And when she tells us, as we speak to the director for the Cayman Islands Red Cross, Ms. John Doe Obi, you were looking earlier, and I think with the Red Cross, there are always some annual themes. So maybe setting the discussion up for after the news break. Do you have a theme this year?
Yeah, we can talk about that.
We can talk about it as well?
Okay.
All right. And we can also maybe ask if we want to be a volunteer. Now, many of us are willing to do things, but are there requirements? How do we sign up? What sort of process do we go through? Maybe those are things that we should know in order to understand. And if you can, maybe an expectation of the volunteer as well. And what else you want to share? All right. When we come back, the director for the Red Cross, Ms. John Doe Obi, will be our guest, and we invite you to be a part of the discussion. So please stay tuned.
Since 1976.
Covering Grand Cayman, No Cayman, Cayman right. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Radio Cayman.
From boat
Cayman
days
Islands.
to beach gatherings. Leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Message us at 925-3261 on WhatsApp today and get active with Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Ministry of Education invites the public to the official opening of the athletic track at the West End Primary School on Friday, May 17th, starting at 3:30 p.m. For more details, contact Ms. Natalia Bodden at West End Primary School by telephone at 948-1425. In international news, the U.S. has opened a new inquiry into troubled jet firm Boeing after the company told air safety regulators that it might not have properly inspected its 787 Dreamliner planes. The Federal Aviation Administration said it would look into whether staff had falsified records. It said Boeing was re-inspecting all 787 jets on the manufacturing line. Boeing will be forced to develop an action plan to address concerns about planes already in service, it added. Stormy Daniels, the adult film star whose alleged sexual encounter with Donald Trump is at the center of the hush money trial in New York, detailed her relationship with the former president on the stand Tuesday. Speaking quickly, Ms. Daniels provided a salacious, detailed account of her purported interactions with Mr. Trump as he looked on a few feet away. Her central assertion that she received $130,000 from Mr. Trump's personal lawyer in 2016 in exchange for her silence about having sex with him 10 years earlier is at the center of the historic New York trial, the first criminal trial of a former U.S. president. Mr. Trump has pleaded not guilty to 34 counts of falsifying business records to conceal the payment to Ms. Daniels to hide the alleged sexual encounter. He has denied all wrongdoing. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
At Kirk Market, it's so easy to eat well and find healthy options. With their fresh veggies from local farmers, hormone-free chicken, local seafood, and grass-fed meats, Kirk Market has delicious, quality food at the best prices. And you must check out their fresh salad bar, hot bar, and med bar for daily healthy options on the go. Their delicious dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients such as prime meats and organic veggies. Eating great is important to me. That's why Kirk Market is my store. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and shop happy.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us, and thanks to Mr. John Dobie at the Red Cross for sharing with us. You know, at some point we want to, as I was sharing during the break, to invite people to get involved, because the strength of a community, its resilience, its resolve, I think is reflected in the resources, and some of that, the people. But when something has an international flair that is positive, that's recognized, is credible, it makes what you do on a local level that much more, I think, impactful. So I was asking about the theme, and is there a local theme as well, by chance?
Yeah, so this year the theme is I give with joy, and the joy I give is a reward. And if you think again, over the last 3 years with the wars, it's almost like you turn on the TV and there's no joy. People are being homeless. People have to migrate to other areas. People are running away from literally bombs, each and every day. So for those of us who are not doing that, when we give, there's a joy that we're also supporting humanity as a whole. And again, thankfully, we live in a region that we don't have wars and all that, but there are people literally, as you and I are sitting here, are running for their lives. Yeah.
I mean, we can look at things that are happening in the Middle East or in Europe, but just next door in Haiti. We can see things, and sometimes we wonder in the context. Well, Madam Director, we have a couple of calls joining us. If I would invite you to put on those wonderful headsets, and let's see what our callers will share. We're speaking to Ms. John Dobie as you go to the phone. Say welcome. Thank you for calling.
Yes, hello.
Hi, how are you today?
This is Pauline Poldevard from Cayman Brack.
Hey, Miss Pauline, ma'am.
How are you today?
Oh, very thankful, ma'am.
And the lady there that's now in charge of the Red Cross. I'd just like to say a few words that, about my involvement with the Red Cross from 1973, 77. I was just looking back at some information that I have the Northwest magazine, for one. Had a good shot of the pioneer of the Red Cross and so on. And then I have some other information here that I don't know how I could get this to you, but it would be good for you to go back into the past and say who, the people that were involved. My husband and I we were there for at least 15 years in Grand Cayman, and then we moved to Cayman Brack, and we had 1 or 2 meetings here as well. So I don't know if Miss Dobie would be interested in anything like this, to go back there and see what happened in the very beginning, or does she have that information at hand?
So, Ms. Pauline, first of all, thank you so much. We will be very interested in that information. We always want to look back to see how it started and the things that were done. So thank you very much. We actually have a team in Cayman Brack. So maybe what we'll do is we'll try and liaise with you and them so we can get that information.
Yeah, because I'm an old woman now. I'm 92 years old.
Wow. Congratulations.
But I'm still doing well.
Thank God, yes.
I know I listen to the talk show all the time. And I thought this would be a good idea to go back to the 73s, and say what and who took part in it and so on, who made their contributions at that time.
No, that would be fantastic. In fact, the late Miss Janlee Clifford, was she was probably the first secretary when it was a committee. And she used to come to our office and give us like all the old notes and minutes from meetings from the 70s. And it was always interesting. And one of the things that we learned was that initial group, so the pioneers, when they started, they wanted to do something significant for the island. And they decided to raise funds in the 70s. And the Red Cross actually gave the Cayman Islands the first ambulance.
Yes, I recall something to that effect. It's a long time ago, and I'm older now, so it's some of the things, and I haven't been talking about it with anyone. So I have lost some of my memory with that in that particular instance.
Yeah. No, you guys did a fantastic and amazing job. Imagine the first ambulance in the Cayman Islands was donated by the Red Cross volunteers. They did a good job with fundraising. So thank you so much for your efforts.
Yeah, it was my husband and myself. My husband, Joris Poldevart. And then it was Mr. John Gray was he was in charge at the time, and we went all up to the governor's office and presented with T-shirts and different things we did during that time.
Yes, yeah.
All right, so if this person, whoever it is up here, who is in charge up here now?
Well, we have volunteers who come together. So there's somebody called Miss Marva, but if we can get your information on the side. And then,
so, Miss Pauline, if you would give Miss Susan contact number for you.
Yeah.
And then Miss John Doe will call you later on today.
All right. Okay, then. Right. Yeah, that would be good, because it would be good information
to
put into the files down there.
Thank you for reaching out to us.
But a long time ago. All right, dear.
Please don't hang up, and Susan will take your number, okay?
Yes, okay, thanks.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
This is the power of radio, and in particular Radio Cayman, and people like, Miss Pauline, the fact that they are still willing, it just inspires you that you just give of what you have, the little or the lot. An amazing lady she is.
No, absolutely. And we would not be here had they not started this work. So it's always interesting to learn more from them as well, and how it started and what challenges they had and they faced in those days.
And she reminds us that that's the strength of a community. We're not waiting, and I think that's what is the Cayman ethos. We're not waiting for government or for somebody who, like, Mr. Henry, he saw a need and he said, somebody, well, that'll be me. The Cayman community is the same. There's a need. How do we organize? How do we respond? An ambulance back in that time, well, we hear stories about doctors on horseback and a bicycle going across.
Yeah.
People don't appreciate that the wonderful paved roads, as congested as we may complain, didn't exist. There was a boggy sand road, in many cases a bush track.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, yes.
To people like her, who God spares life, will see 100 plus and still remind us of the beauty of giving. Right?
Yes, no, absolutely.
Amazing. So thank you, Ma'am. All right. Well, Ms. John, before we take other calls, perhaps, as they come in, but share with us as you want. I mean, I'm glad to offer up this opportunity to recognize that whether it was in Hurricane Ivan or whether it's that training that you continue to provide, whether it's the partnership in relation to other government entities, it makes the community stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we think about sort of our senior citizens, the Red Cross has a program now called Support Our Seniors, the SOS program. And that was born from COVID. If you remember, of course you remember, when we were all isolated,
I use a different word, man. House arrest?
Sheltering in, what was it called again?
House arrest.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Yeah, sheltering in place. But there were one of the things that DG was saying is that we must take care of our seniors. Let us not forget our seniors, because already they're isolated on a regular basis.
Right.
And now with COVID, imagine how they felt. So the Red Cross teamed up with the Department of Children and Family Services, their geriatrics department. And we said, you know what, the social workers are swamped. They have a lot of work to do, and we've got volunteers. So we started getting training. And over the years, the department would train our volunteers. And our job is to liaise with these vulnerable seniors who might just need somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Hospital visits, just a friendly person to take them to hospital visits, and medication, and even grocery shopping. So we've started doing this over the last couple of years, and it's just made an impact in their lives.
Well, it gives meaning and purpose to your individual life, but you're also making an immediate impact on somebody. And as many seniors who may have children and grandchildren, they recognize on both sides of the equation that they all have their lives as well. But a community is only strong when a community unites and looks after its own. I think we have another call, Mr. Chondo. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon.
And to you, Mr. Brown, today, sir. How are you?
How are you doing, Mr. Sterling and Miss John Doe Obi?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I want to ask on behalf of some of the people that I think maybe they would appreciate it. I see people with dirty clothes on and stuff, and basically bad shoes, no shoes. Not really no shoes, but, bad shoes. I was just asking if y'all would find it within your heart to help them somehow. If they come by there and they need, homeless people or people that have little problems, if just asking for them if y'all would help them if they desire to get help from y'all.
Absolutely. So the Red Cross actually has a referral center. If you know where our headquarters is, that's our thrift shop. It's also a referral center. We work with a lot of organizations that have vulnerable clients. We also do self-referrals. So it's easier to work with organizations because they would have done the assessments and then we partner with them. But like what you're saying, if you know of anybody out there who requires items, our shop is full of so many things, from clothing to household items, furniture, kitchen stuff, and we regularly give out things free of cost. So if there are people, all we need to do is make sure we document what we're doing. But absolutely, that is the reason why the referral center is there, and we do this on a regular basis. So please, a lot of times vulnerable people cannot come to us. Maybe they do not have transportation, or maybe they might not be willing. But if you're like the person in the middle, we'll be happy to work with you.
Okay. And thanks very much. And here's another civic-minded community member who sees, but perhaps like many of us, we're not quite sure, well, what can we do? How can we do it? We want to respect people, their privacy. We want to respect them so that they don't feel offended, but we want to help. You talked about the referral center referral program. Toby at the final break. For those of us who don't know, we hear referrals, we're thinking, the doctor sends a referral. Well, what is this and how is it like? How do we access it? And maybe as part of what the last gentleman just shared, maybe the community can be a greater partner with assisting in some way. Again, our time, our talent, and our treasure, right? Can we talk about that after this final break?
Absolutely.
All right, please join us after the break.
This Mother's Day, Digicel wants to take you to brunch. We're giving away brunch vouchers for you and mom to enjoy a delightful feast together. Winning is easy. Simply activate the postpaid Supreme plan or the 30-day Prime Max plan, and you could be our lucky winner. Don't let the chance to treat mom to a special day out slip away. Visit your nearest Digicel store today or hop onto the My Digicel app for your shot at winning. Make this Mother's Day a memorable one with Digicel.
The public consultation period for Cayman's new national health strategy is currently underway. Follow the Ministry of Health and Wellness on Facebook for information on upcoming town hall meetings, radio appearances, and other ways to tell us what you think. Email your comments to mohfeedback@gov.ky or log on to gov.ky/health-wellness to complete the survey. Your voice matters, Cayman.
The Passport and Corporate Services Office is advising travelers to check their passports to ensure all is in order ahead of summer holiday travels. Travelers should check their passport validity, verify entry requirements for the destination, and apply for or renew passports and visas early. For more information, call 345-649-7678 or email passportandcorporate@gov.ky.
The Economics and Statistics Office is currently conducting the annual business surveys until June 14th. The surveys seek to collect information needed to answer these questions. How did the economy perform in 2023? In 2023, how much did foreign companies invest in the Cayman Islands? The surveys include all relevant entities that produce goods and services in the Cayman Islands. The surveys are confidential under the Statistics Act and are exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. Your response matters. Do your part. Fill out and return your survey forms to the ESO. Remember, better data, better decisions, better business. For assistance in filling out the forms or for more information, visit www.eso.ky or call 244-4676 or 244-4600.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us, and thanks to Mr. John Doby for sharing with us, and to you, the staff and the team of volunteers over at the Red Cross. But the Red Cross globally, approaching maybe 15, 20 million volunteers?
About 16 million globally, yes.
Yeah, that's a few people well.
That's a lot.
And they're making a meaningful impact, but they also are credible. There's the competency, but the commitment. And I wanted to ask, based on what the gentleman who just called, he sees, like many of us, something that someone should do, but we're not quite sure how. And you referenced the referral program. Could we ask you to expand on that? What does that mean? What is that?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people know us for our thrift shop.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best thrift shops on island. I mean, you get some good deals. And so we get a lot of donations because it's a very giving public. But people don't realize that actually the stuff that they give goes through the referral process as well. So we raise funds with the money that we get from these items, but also we give it out. So we have about over 20-something partners that we work with year in, year out, and they're vulnerable clients. So if somebody needs something, they will fill out one of our referral forms and send the people to us, and we will give it to them free of cost. Like I said before the break, we're talking furniture, other household items, kitchen items, and clothing. But what we realize is that as we get more vulnerable, there's more vulnerability within our island.
Yeah.
So we're encouraging self-referrals or personal referrals. So you're in your community and you know there's a family next door who really needs support, but they don't want to come out, but they need the support. You can come to us. We'll work together. We will do the assessment because we have to make sure that, everything's above board. But we will give them items. I mean, that's why we're there. So we're really pushing. And in fact, our name, Thrift Shop, we're changing it to Community Referral Center so that people are aware that the items in the shop are for people who are vulnerable. So if anybody needs anything, they can call the Red Cross shop, and the phone number is 949-SHOP. So it's quite easy. And just say, I'd like to make a referral, or can I come and see the manager there? And we will work to make sure that those guys have items.
Yeah. And this is where, as you shared, this is a very giving community. Many people do a lot, and they never once, and sometimes they will go to great length. Hey, don't publicize what I do. It doesn't matter how much or how little people give. But there is, unfortunately, growing needs in many communities, including our own. And that partnership can allow us. So maybe the caller sparks someone who now realizes that a neighbor or another needs some little extra assistance. They could come through the Red Cross. It's not just disaster management. It's empowering the community.
Exactly. And in fact, what happened, I think it was 2 months ago, somebody was in need. They referred us and realized that person was a senior. So now they've joined our Support Our Seniors program.
Okay.
So not only did we support them with what they required at that time, we realized that this person needs to go to hospital and they have no transportation. So now they have joined this program called the SOS, Support Our Seniors. And, I remember there were some seniors when we started with them, they were a bit shy, a bit quiet. Now they're standing by the gate saying, where's my Red Cross volunteer? I need to go to the hospital. So it's just nice because a lot of them are lonely as well, just to have a friend to talk to as well.
And I think this is where organizations like Red Cross, like the CERT, we get to know our community. We get to be involved. We get to take ownership. But we also get to, participate, accept responsibility, to contribute in ways that impact lives immediate and meaningful. And the more that we do that, the less it is for somebody else to do something, whether that somebody else is a government entity, but it's us who are doing it. Raises pride, raises awareness, increases safety, stability, security. The knock-on effects are all positive.
No, absolutely. And it's better for us as a community.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we found is that you might be going there to help somebody, go for their doctor's visit. But while you're there, you find out other things. And they might need other services. So the Red Cross can then refer those seniors to other organizations. So we want to be that bridge, that gap that people might think, well, I need this. How do I get this? Well, through these programs, they might be able to get additional services.
I think, too, as I speak to you, Mr. John, I recognize that in our communities, there are many people who may have resources. They may have other family members. There may be some level of financial wherewithal. But no one is an island. No one has everything. And even if they may have these, those individuals are also taxed in many ways. They're unavailable constantly. Where do we fill in? So with that, I was asking also prior to the break of your volunteers, how do we volunteer? What are the expectations? What are the criteria? Share with us if you can.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we have learned about volunteerism is that it looks different with everybody. So we cannot have the same expectation for everybody. Some people say, you know what, I've got this year, I'm not working, I want to volunteer. So they will have more time. And there's some people who like, oh yeah, I've been volunteering for 10 years, but I need to take a break because my kids are going to school or whatever it is. But I think what is important for us is bring what you can. And everybody has a skill. So, if you're good at, designing, you don't have to come to the Red Cross to do designs these days, with computers. You can do that from your house. You're volunteering your skill. If you like to cook, hey, do you want to cook for the volunteers that go out there? You can do that. If you're good at governance, you can sit at the board level. If you're good at committees, you can sit at committee level. If you like disaster management, whatever your skill is. And that's the beauty about the Red Cross. There's no one sort of thing. We welcome everybody because we recognize that the skills then enhance the organization. So we have volunteers across the board. Those who come into the office and help out with admin. Those who are at the referral center, helping out with the shop to organize the items so that when people come there, the items are properly organized. So it's just, Sterling, even you could come in there and...
even me.
You could help out with your skills as well. So I think what I will say is that, people always say, well, I'm not good at first aid and I don't really want to get involved in disaster management. That's not all the Red Cross does. We do a lot. You might be good at fundraising, communications. There's so many things that what we say is bring your skill.
And we all need somebody at some point. I say that being mindful that sometimes we don't look and see our friend who is, for that time, unsupported, But to your point, or elderly who may need to get to a doctor's appointment or shopping done, you might be that person that can assist.
Yeah.
Given that physical, personal contact to that individual. Ms. John Doe, I'm told we have another caller.
Okay.
Hey, welcome. Thank you for calling.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, how are you?
I am good.
Glad to hear from you. Thanks for sharing.
I'm glad to hear that you have the Red Cross on today. John Doe, it's Zita May.
Hi, Zita.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
Another recognizable voice no matter where we are.
Yes, but I know tomorrow is our birthday.
Yes.
Yes, International Red Cross Day, right?
Yeah. And it is, I just want to say that the Red Cross is such a wonderful organization. People from faraway lands, and they come and they were Red Cross members there, and they come and they join us. Over the years of just seeing the Red Cross, and then with them I've served on the board for about 10 years, and I'm up to 35 years now as being a Red Cross member. And so I just want to call in to say happy birthday, happy anniversary to the Red Cross, and let us keep on shining.
All right,
and wearing our red.
Thank you, Ms. Zita May. And like you said, 35 years. Now, people who go, how can that be? Because Zita May can't be that much more than 35 herself, right?
Exactly.
Thanks for the energy and enthusiasm and always being willing to share, Ms. Zita May.
Thank you. When we think about Zita May, I mean, way before even the CERT started, Zita had already started, working at community level. She was trained at the international federation level with regards to response. And then when we did do the CERT, Zita is part of the CERT in West Bay. And the fact that you have people on ground, no matter what happens within West Bay, we can count on Zita and the other community members to give us information. Yeah. Because we can't be in every community at the same time. So that's the importance about search teams. Train people who can then provide information. So when government is making decisions for the island, you've got reliable information. So thank you very much, Zita.
All right. Have a wonderful afternoon. And I think what she and through the CERT programs reminds us that as Cayman evolves, there has to be a level of sort of formality and formalization of things. Not so much the bureaucracy, but the idea of organization and that loose affiliation that existed always in the communities where people did things from those early, sort of formative days of the Red Cross that, as you shared, reminded us, and Ms. Paula as well, led to, led fundraising, purchase of an ambulance to what is now an entity. Puts us in good state for the next 100 years, huh?
Yes.
All right. Well, as we close our discussion, Ms. John, what else would you want to share with our listeners? And thanks for coming on board.
No, thank you very much. I just want to say it's all about, we are in a small community, so we have to work together. And if we think back, it's going to be 20 years since you mentioned Hurricane Ivan. And how did it work? It was everybody coming together. So even though it's been 20 years, I encourage members of the public we need to still come together and work together. I know we've grown as a population, and we tend to do our own things and may not know our neighbors, but I would encourage people to know who your neighbors are, find out who's vulnerable within, even if it's just on your street. Let's start with our own street. Yeah. Who are the vulnerable people? And how can we help when things happen? Because not all disasters are hurricanes, so that gives us like 5 days. An earthquake could happen immediately. Then what? Yeah. So I think it's that community spirit, the volunteering spirit, and let's all work together.
Indeed, yeah. I think if we look at what happens in our communities, we recognize that sense of giving, of caring, of loving. It begins with us, within our homes, and that home isn't just the four walls. It's the adjoining fences and the street and the neighbors, and then it expands. So
exactly.
I'm hoping to see that unity. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, tomorrow we'll celebrate, International Red Cross Day, and see what one person can do. Well, do it with heart, with love, do it with kindness and compassion. You'll see a meaningful impact. Thanks, Miss Susan. Thanks for letting me not, misbehave too much. And happy birthday to Susan as well, right?
Her birthday as well?
She has a birthday too. It's not just now, but she has a birthday. She looks like a superwoman, but they didn't find her, in some spaceship that came from elsewhere. Although she should have a cape. Like so many of the wonderful women in our communities. We celebrate them as we celebrate the children in this month of May. Thank you, Ms. John Doe.
Thank you very much.
All right. Please join Mr. Hart tomorrow morning for the record and come back for Talk Today or right after. Until then, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.